Okay, so I have here the IPEVO, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, IPEVO maybe? V4K USB document camera. Now, unfortunately, I do use video camera. Oh, anyway. You can see sideways packaging on the top of the box. Very simple. Simply just a metal, so five frame to be metal. It's quite handy, so some sort of, well, it's not plastic, it's metal, but it seems to be very safe. Yeah, if it comes with one of these, you can go instructions yourself. So hanging on. It's simply just a USB cable like that. Now, the stand can be put in a number of fashions, most common of which is obviously would be just straight up and out. Like so. It can be a good height, when distance goes to a wider. The best way that you can get a larger angle again, but you can't be made of plastic is advantage and disadvantage because of weight. So this is not included in getting all the way down. It's quite robust. As far as physical interface goes, we've simply got a autofocus lock, okay, for scanning a constant, a autofocus button, which is not labeled, but that is what that picture is meant to mean, and a manual adjustment for our exposure. Interestingly, this first bracket here, which can be screwed off to have direct access to mounting the camera, this mounting point actually looks like a really strong candidate for 3D printing a whole bunch of your own brackets if you are that way inclined. I will certainly be looking into that for perhaps a Velcro mount one, or even just a ceiling mount to get a high up view. Or maybe there's some interest in using something similar for practical demonstrations in teaching subjects like food technology. That is about it for our physical overview. Seems quite good. It is a bit shorter than I may like, okay, but the nice simple design of this means that we could easily print a third arm, okay, a third one of these to go from here to our camera. We've got a decent bit of cord length that we could quite go up, okay, end up with another extension. I think our base is still weighty enough that we're not going to run into issues there. Let's now move over to looking through our camera. Okay, so we're just looking at the website for this camera here, the V4K. You can see advertising in the US at 99 US dollars. In Australia, it cost me about 180, 190, including 2-day shipping. So it's on the budget end for sure, but we are only a USB connection, no HDMI, which could be a deal breaker for some, doesn't particularly worry me. You can see here it's advertised as an 8 megapixel camera operating at 3264 by 2448, which is a 4 by 3 aspect ratio, which I guess is the sensor size as well. It comes in at just under 8 megapixels, but that's fine. It's not actually 4K, or not the common 4K Ultra HD standard, which is a 16 by 9 3840 by 2160. So that's actually more pixels. We're looking at 8.3 megapixels, but squished round into a narrow, long rectangle instead of a closer to a square. I think this is actually a good thing for most use cases, especially in a classroom, because projectors, which are normally only XGA, which is 1024 by 768, or under a megapixel, are also a 4 by 3 aspect ratio. At the higher end, okay, so you're talking like $3,000 or $4,000 projectors. You look at WXGA, which is 1920 by 1200. So a skinnier aspect ratio, it's 19 by 10, but sorry, 16 by 10, but that's still a lot better than our 16 by 9 Full HD or 1080p. For our users, it's plenty high resolution, assuming we're not too noisy. As we come down, we've got our minimum system requirements here, which actually ran into some issues with. Oh, we're looking at it. So Core i5 CPU, 2 gig RAM, nothing unusual. Oh, sorry, we're meant to be looking at Windows. i3, really old i3 at that, 4 gig of RAM. Using this on my Surface Pro, I ran into some pretty bad frame rate issues. So I sent IPEVO a email here just telling them sorry, this is not the right video. Telling them that I was having really bad performance. They were pretty prompt to reply that night for me, but I understand there in the US I'm not. So they asked me to try lower resolutions, which obviously that will help because we're pumping less pixels through. They then sent me a beta version of the visualizer to see if that worked better. So I did download that and give it a try. I did not get to try the Chrome app. I'll try it now though. This beta version made a huge difference. Okay, so we're looking at the highest resolution it'll run at. Previously on the version 1.5 of the software, it was bogging down basically my Surface Pro 4, which only had a 6300U, so low power, dual core, but it shouldn't kill the computer, which I was looking at multiple seconds of delay. The UI was absolutely useless. Tried to record it, but I couldn't handle recording and running that at the same time. That just destroyed it completely. When they sent this updated version, they've dropped our CPU usage from basically maxing it out. 91% was just in this test. That's with nothing else open. If I had Firefox open and OneNote, as I do at a minimum for teaching, that would easily just hit 1% and stay there. With the updated version, I was down at 35%. So this is total CPU usage, not just for this app. This has got Windows background shit going on as well, so a lot better. 35% completely usable. Lower resolutions obviously resulted in lower CPU usage, but that didn't mean a lot to me. Our UI was no longer laggy. The input delay went from ridiculous to almost imperceptible. So I've said here I'm guessing around 100 milliseconds. That's a guess, but it was going to impact not at all on teaching and demonstrating and pointing. Where previously, if I said something, it would probably be 2 seconds later that I was actually pointing at that thing, which is not helpful. I suggested here they add a link to their beta version or push it to stable ASAP, as it's a huge improvement. So here we are in the provided visualizer software, which we do have to download from their website. There is no physical media included in the package. That is fine, but I'm running version 16.0.5, which is the beta version provided when I emailed the manufacturers. This software actually is quite good. I quite like it. I've used it with my Surface Pro. I can select both of the other cameras on the device and they work fine. We also have the option here for our refresh rate. If we change that to 50 Hz, we're now synced up with the flickering of our lights, which is almost required in some situations. Okay. We've got auto exposure here, so you can see the color in the background there change when I put my hand in there. We lighten things up. We can also manually mess with most things. We've got our zoom, we've got our rotate, we've got our resolution. We come here to default of 1080p, that's fine. Okay, we've got our exposure, we can lock the exposure. Okay. As I spoke about, I've got this rotated. I'm going to bring it back to round the right way. Oh, we have a delay there. Okay, clicking on the screen solved our problem. It was interesting though. See, our autofocus is being a bit of a pain. Good thing is we can hit our focus button. So I'm just using the physical button on the device. Oh, we are rotated upside down. So I can simply rotate this, flip vertically, we should be good. Okay, we can hit our focus button. We also have the option for manual focus, which is very handy. For some reason we cannot change our autofocus mode on the software, which is fine. So we can do that. We can actually then change it to manual focus and lock the focus on that page. So now I can write, and it's not going to try and focus on my hand. It's going to stay focused on the page. We're now rotated left to right. Obviously have the camera round the wrong way from what they intend. So I have it on the right side of the page. This is actually my right, and facing over towards the left, but super easy to fix. We flip horizontally, we're now in the right way. So I can write left to right. So unfortunately my handwriting sucks, but it works. You can see there we're quite clear. That's my normal sized font. Would fit in a lined booklet without too much of a hassle. Alright, so I'm going to bring back that PCB from earlier. And you can actually have a look here at one of my preferred features. We can bring in a magnifying box and place that over what we want to magnify. Now, I'm not exactly sure what it's tied to, and it doesn't follow the flipping that we have earlier. So you can see on the right here, we've got my name. Over here, we also have it. On this one, we are up the right way and around the right way. This one, we are upside down and back to front. Pity that the magnified does not follow the image options you set. Don't quite have the contrast to see much on our 80 mega there, but if we come in closer, let's see what we can get. So we're just going to focus on one board. And we can start to see add mount in the top one. Let's see if we can find it. It is very much a searching game, having things upside down and around the wrong way. Button. There is our 18 mega. We can see the end of our 328p big. Can't see the rest of our serial number down the bottom there, model number. Some of our other some of our other chips. Where is our flash chip? Over here somewhere. Okay, our Winbond flash chip, so with a 25x20, so 20 megabyte X series, so a bit faster. SPI chip. Read that fine. Interestingly, our magnifier is tied to the resolution we set. So if we pop this down to 1600 by 1200, another 4:3, see our quality is much worse on our magnifier, which is really the only reason we will want this set at the highest resolution, because our projector is not going to be able to handle anything near that. So this is at 1080p utilizing the built-in camera. It looks like it's turned autofocus back on. Oh no, it has not. Okay, so focus down on the page here. I'm just looking at a board we'll be playing with in the future. I'm talking quite quietly. I noticed when I was playing around with sound settings earlier, the inbuilt mic is quite noisy, but something we could probably sort out in post. Being USB, there are no options for optimizing the audio quality. Now, whilst we're recording, we don't actually have the option, doesn't look like, no, of bringing in, our magnifier, but that is okay. We can bring our focus back to auto and allow it to focus right in on our board here. Okay, looks like fun. Sometimes we have this focusing issue. Okay, we've focused all the way up. It just takes a little longer. We've brought it right back down. Other thing is, this will still focus at infinity, which is very handy if you want to turn this around and point it at a classroom or video something from a bit further back without trying very hard.
So this is told me it's capped at 1080p for recording. I'm not sure why. The website didn't really imply that. It implied we could do 4K at 15 frames a second, but 1080p is good enough for my needs. The lack of a magnifier is disappointing in recording mode though. Still have the ability to freeze and adjust our focus, white balance, color, and exposure. We've done those around the wrong way. We do have some filter options. I don't see where this would ever be useful. Perhaps. Okay, we can talk about inverted color, might be useful in science, but really, I don't see any advantages. I'm sure someone had fun putting them in though. Overall, awesome camera, would buy. There's definitely, if I didn't have one and I didn't have a tablet which I could write on with a pen like Surface Pro, I would put this down as a must-have. If you're someone who still loves overheads but your faculty is pushing you out of them, perhaps, or like a teacher I know, your overhead decided to light on a fire one day, this may be the way to go. Okay, much cheaper, much cooler, much easier, much more portable. See you later.